Welcome to Panfish Nation. Along with Mark, I'm Lyle, and tonight, Mark, we got Bob coming in from Fish and Finds. It's going to be a great show, but before we get started, I tried to watch your brothers tonight. I swear I really did. I tried to watch them and Dockery.
I went.
Look what I got, Dockery. You thought you sent them to Cindy? I got them.
I don't even know if he's in chat yet, but I put this on just for him today. Halfway through the show, I'm like, oh, I need to go find my shirt.
He's so funny. He think I wouldn't eat them things.
They were quickly confiscated.
That was right. They're all in my room. I got every one of them. Cindy ain't getting none of them, Dockery.
You know, Cindy's in chat. Be careful what you say.
Oh, yeah, for that. But, man, them guys that got it going on over there, I'll never laugh so hard. They're doing a wonderful job in there.
I didn't think it was all that funny, to be honest with you. Some of that stuff was kind of mean. You know, that Chad, he just goes way out of his way to be a bully. I think he thrives on it.
Well, we saw what he did with Ant Hunters.
I think it fills some childhood gap that was left in his cold black heart.
I bet you had a blast at Mendota together, though.
Oh, man, we did have a lot of fun. You'll have to come up next year, Mark.
Yeah,
I promise you a good time.
Heck yeah.
It'll be a blast. Welcome, everybody. Let's run through some of the people that's in chat. Mark, what do you say?
I can do that. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. We got a couple crosses fishing. Avid fisherman. Miss Cindy Stokes. What's up, Mom? Country boy catfishing. Fins and fire. Hey, Fins, you're in chat. What's going on, Bob?
Yeah.
How are you? I do that every week. Fishing with Michelob. You gotta like that name.
Hey, that's
my cousin.
Oh, that's your cousin? I like that. I used to drink a lot of Michelob back in the day. Fishing with the Chad. Fishing and cooking with Mike Chavez. Fish Smack. Fish Smack's going to be on our show, isn't he, Lyle?
I think so.
I think so. Next week, Thursday.
Yeah.
Come back and check out Trey on our show. We're looking forward to having him.
That's going to be fun.
It is. Georgia Fisherman. Getting hooked with D. I bet you Betty's there too. Oh, there she is. A couple crosses fishing. What's up, Betty? Can't forget. I want to say hello to Katie too, because you know she's watching in the background. I don't want to miss her because she's the nice Dockery.
That's right.
Absolutely. Georgia Fisherman, hooks and hammocks. What's going on, Chris? Chris got a new boat, Lyle.
Chris got a new boat?
He got a new boat, like a 17-foot Ranger, I believe.
Well, now.
That's nice, ain't it?
I'm a little shocked being a kayak guy like he was. But, hey, just so everybody knows, Chris Intelli will be on Catfish Weekly Monday night.
Absolutely. Maybe you can corner him on that and get him some questions about what the boat's like.
I will.
There's that James Dockery fishing. Joe Buck 66. Gabby's dad is in chat. Laura the Explorer. Mike Irvin. What's going on, Mike? Mo Creek fishing. I saw a couple things in a Chad show that Mo had said that somebody repeated a couple times.
Yes.
Mr. Gadget fishing. Becca, Mud Tramp 0715. What's going on, Becca? I wonder if that's her birthday. Maybe her birthday is coming up in July.
It may be.
I'm thinking it might be. We'll have to make sure we remember.
Yeah.
Opinion Nation USA. That's a new one. Outside with the Haze.
Another one of my cousins.
Oh, okay. Outside with the Haze.
They're here to support me.
Papa Ed. Well, this is not debate shop. We're going to be nice to you. Don't worry about it, Bob.
Yeah,
you
that's
don't
right.
need backup in chat. We'll got you covered. So. Patriot Catfishers of America. Great show on James's show last night.
Absolutely.
Philip Williams, Ryan Borst, blue collar fishing. It must be raining because if Ryan's not out fishing after work, it's got to be pouring or something.
I'd say
it is. Kayak sprung a leak. Who knows? The Bullock Experience. What's up, Kelly? And Mr. Tim Molina, the great Tim Molina. What's up, everybody? Stan's in here too. If I missed you, if I missed anybody, we'll try and get them back when we come across you in chat.
Two Stans, Laura. Well, we're glad to have all of you in here. And Bob, welcome to Panfish Nation.
Well, appreciate you having me on here.
Oh, dude, you know, we visited online for a long time before we finally met. And where is it we met? Wasn't even close to around here.
Nope. Catfish Conference 2 years ago.
That's exactly right. We never met up until we was plumb down in Kentucky. And but we've had some great conversations over the years. And man, you've been killing the fish. You've been really been knocking them out. Them crappie you
It's been a
caught
good
was
year so far.
outstanding. Yeah, it has been. So we're pleased that you're having a great year. Thought maybe you could come on and tell us the story and how you get on some of them fish.
Well, I mean, as far as the crappie go, me and my buddy Ray, who lives over in El Dorado Springs, north of me a little bit, he's fished those rivers all his life. And so we were fishing the Sac River for the crappie. And like I said, just you put a guy who knows what's going on there, and he'll put us on the fish.
Yeah.
No, and it depends on what the water is doing. We're just always looking for those current seams. Like I said, the video I made that y'all saw, I try to point that out in there, and we would just go up and down, and you find one good seam, and those fish would be just stacked up in there.
How close to Truman Lake was you actually at?
We were probably about 20 miles west of Truman.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that area where the Sac comes into Truman, where it comes into the Osage River.
Yeah.
That area in there is really good because it gets a little skinny going west from that boat ramp that is west of where the confluence is.
Right.
You get up in there very far with a big boat, it gets a little skinny.
I've took my pontoon boat up there before.
Way up in there, really?
Yeah.
Was the water up or at normal levels, or?
I don't know about that time.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
just what kind of draft?
I went up there. I was in the Sea Arc at that time. I did take my pontoon once, but we launched at Osceola right there and kind of fished in that area.
Yeah.
But I did
that's not a regular pontoon boat, though, is it, Bob?
No, it's a 26-foot angler boat.
It's set up for fishing pretty good. Center console, big in-dash sonar, the whole deal. I saw pictures of that. For the first time I saw a pontoon boat that I was kind of envious of a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not a big pontoon guy, but I could deal with that one. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. That was of course I had the Sea Arc Pro Cat 240, which everybody knows is a wonderful boat. But, I got this one picture of my wife. She went with me one time, and she got this little fold-up little beach chair, trying to put in that Sea Arc, and she just looked so uncomfortable. And she didn't want to go fish with me much. And I said, if you want to go with me where I can make it happen. Sold that and bought the pontoon boat, nice big couches on it, and now she loves to go out with me.
Hey, if that's what it takes to make her go, then so be it.
You know what they say: if Mama ain't happy,
that's right.
Nobody happy.
Bob,
the thing is, I'm happy too because I love that pontoon boat. I mean, it is a way to, awesome way to fish.
How much water does it take to float that boat?
Just 3 foot. It doesn't take much at all. I mean, I've taken pretty skinny water before. I've taken it through all trees. I treat it like it's a bass boat. I mean, I'll take it through all kinds of stuff. I just stand on the front deck. I've got the trolling motor, and I've got a 112-pound thrust Altera with a remote control, and I'll go through anything.
Yeah, sounds like it. I got to address something here.
Sure.
Laura asked why the new background isn't up in the usual background. Well, let me explain that. I had the one up on there before, and it was on every show we done, whether it was Panfish Nation or Catfish Weekly or whatever it was, and I couldn't get it off. And I got it off. Don't know how I got it off. Now I can't put it back on, and that's why it's like it is, Laura. So just so you know, I got to do some studying and figure out what I done to get it off and how to take ones on and off back in there so I don't leave it on all the time. I usually get along fairly well with the computer. I can't get along hardly at all with a phone. But this has got me buffaloed, and it's something very simple that I'm overlooking, but I got to get it fixed. But that's the reason. So you're going to have to deal with it for a day or two because I am not a computer genius. I'm just an old guy that likes to play around with them.
I'm just a phone call away, Lyle. You know that.
I understand.
You just don't want the grief I'd give you when you called me. That's all.
Well, it's better than the grief I get from your brother Dockery.
Well, Lyle, I'm not great with computers, but if you ever want me to come up and help you out, let me know.
Okay.
You're only 40 miles away. It's not.
Isn't that the truth, man? Like all these years Bob. And we've talked about going fishing quite a bit.
Yeah, we're gonna make it happen this year.
We never have, and I'm surprised. But well, you've been told to come down. All you got to do is show up.
Yeah. All right, you let me know when I'll be there.
Well, that's
Mark wants to get on those stripers.
I do. I want to get on a striper. The wipers I used to catch in Indiana were a heck of a lot smaller than the ones I want to catch. So I'm looking forward to getting on something.
They got some stripers in Lake Ozark, Truman, both, I think.
They're considered panfish, aren't they, Lyle?
They're all considered panfish.
They've got the hybrids, the wipers. No true stripers, though. I don't know of any lakes in Missouri that are true stripers, except for the ones that come up through Bull Shoals. And
yeah, that'd be, Now they got some big ones down there.
I know Table Rock's got a few that get through the Beaver Dam and stuff, but they're not stocked by Missouri Department of Conservation.
I don't understand that.
The only one Watts Bar has true stripers, correct? I'm not mistaken there, I believe.
A
couple other places in Tennessee, and then further out east, everything else I think is wipers. I think you're right.
Right.
There's people out here that call white bass striped bass. The names kind of change, but
when I was little, I was fished up. Me and my dad fished up in Pentonville in central Wisconsin. That's where we went every year when I was a kid.
Okay.
And they had a lot of white bass there, and we always called them stripers. To me, any fish that was silver white with the stripes was a striper to me.
Yeah, I was supposed to go out to Pentonville this year, do a little ice fishing. It just never happened because other things got in the way. But I was kind of looking forward to doing that. That's a great.
Ever since until we moved to Texas when I was, I think, in 4th grade. But from before that, since I was probably 1 or 2 years old, that's when I started fishing, and that was that lake we went to every year.
Here's a great comment in chat, fellas. Fishing with Michelob, fins and fines. We need to take Lyle and Mark out metal detecting sometimes. Make it fishing detecting weekend would be a blast.
Heck yeah.
I'm in on that. Yeah, I'm in on that. I've set and I don't know who this Fishing with Michelob is, but I think I told you once before, I watched a marathon one weekend of your videos about metal detecting and that nephew of yours.
Yeah.
And man, some of the stuff that comes up out of the ground is unbelievable. That's a hobby that I'm afraid that if I got into, I would be like I am with fishing. I'd be head over heels in it, and I don't need no more expensive hobbies. But it looks like a lot of fun.
It is.
Man, some of the stuff that was found when you guys was down south down there was simply amazing.
Well, I fish with Michelob. That's my cousin Mike, and a lot of my metal detecting and fishing videos you see him in.
I see.
We've been doing that together since, fishing all our lives, and then been metal detecting since the mid-'80s together. We've had a lot of great adventures, and I wish I got even 10% of what we did on video. That'd been awesome.
It's incredible what you can pull out of the ground, and it's incredible about where you find it and stuff. I mean, I've seen metal detecting videos. They're in the middle of fields and they're pulling up Civil War artifacts and stuff all the time. And it's you don't realize what's under your feet.
And the funny thing is a lot of people call it dirt fishing. That's what they call it.
Yeah. I was just going to compare it to fishing because it's like you don't know what's under the water. You don't know what's below the surface of the earth either. So
the other guy fished with here, Ray, that's in the crappie videos when I caught my big catfish, a few weeks ago. That's how I met him, was through metal detecting. That's what we do that together a bunch. We've been metal detecting for a decade together, and then find out he likes fishing, I like fishing, so we started fishing together a bunch. It's just a lot of crossover in the hobbies. A lot of people I metal detect with loaded fish and vice versa, and that's why I kind of did the channel that way, because that's my 2 main hobbies. And of course, you hear people say, to do it right, you need to split them up, have 2 channels and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to mess with 2 channels. That's hard enough doing one, but that's me. It's fins and fines. If you see me do anything outside of work, that's not with the family, it's gonna be one of those 2 things.
Well, I think a lot of people have different reasons for having their channels, and and it is what it is. I kind of have my reason. You have yours. Other people have it for their reasons. So who's to say anybody should?
Right. Well, my first channel was actually just metal detect, and I started back in 2010. The reason I did that is because my dad's health. He got me into metal detecting, and his health was getting so bad he couldn't detect anymore. So I'd go on a good trip with Michelob or Ray, and I'd call him up, say, this is what I found and stuff. And I decided, hey, I started videotaping this. So he could kind of relive those hunts with me. And so, you know, I did that for several years. And then he passed away, and I just didn't have the heart to keep making videos and let that go. And then just, you know, decided, you know, a couple of years ago that I'd like to have just basically a video archive of my adventures. And so, you know, Fins and Finds was born, and whether it's fishing or detecting, I'm making videos, and I just love going back and watching those. Like that, you know, my personal blue catfish from 2 weeks ago. I'm looking forward to watching that 10 years from now, because I know I'll enjoy it just as much.
Absolutely. Where did you tell everybody where you caught that fish at, Bob?
That was on the Osage River.
On the Osage.
We launched at Taborville. It was between Taborville and Kaplinger Mill, just that stretch of river right there.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm sure you know where that is, Lyle.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. You ever fish up the Roscoe area?
Well, is that? I don't know.
That's west of Taborville.
Shell City. We've done a lot by Shell City. You know, that
it ain't that far west.
Okay.
It's not that far west.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't been over there since I used to duck hunt years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But Roscoe is another area I duck hunted, but it's got some really good fishing.
Yeah.
Between there, and it's 8 miles from Osceola by the road.
Yeah.
But it's further than that as the river ones. There's great places to fish up
there. That area, if we're going catfishing, it's usually the Osage River. And if we want to go, you know, just tear up the crappie, catch white bass and stuff like that, we usually fish the Sac River.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And then we talked about hopefully sometime pretty soon, probably going to go just launch the pontoon on Stockton, and, you know, maybe just fish all night there, walleye, and catch the crappie. I'm just, you know, I'm a fisherman. I don't care what I catch.
Yeah.
I have just as much fun going out there to Fellows Lake with a ultralight rod and a little jig and catching bluegill all day long.
Is there an abundance of those? Cindy and I have talked about doing some video work down there, but I'm not sure how good the fishing is on say Stockton and McDaniels and stuff like that.
I've never been on Stockton. I've never fished McDaniels.
I did mean.
Oh, you're talking about Fellows? Yeah, Fellows.
Yeah.
Fellows is just just a pretty lake, and usually if I go there, it's because me and my wife like to kayak fish there. Mm-hmm. I still think you should go with us one time. Mm. Yeah. But I mean, I've caught, you know, a bunch of crappie out of Fellows, a bunch of bluegill. We've caught, you know, catfish. We got a nice channel catfish population there. Fishing with Michelob, he was with me not that long ago when we were fishing there, and he caught a real nice walleye there.
Well, everybody knows I love my channel cat, so
yeah. So my plan is, you know, through the summer, I'll probably spend a lot of time there, and you know, probably more likely, you know, chase, you know, channel caster because it's fun, and try to do a lot more live shows from that also.
Oh, there motor restrictions on all those lakes, isn't there?
Yeah, it's 40 horsepower maximum. So, and even if you have a bigger boat with a bigger motor, they won't be. I've got the Old Town Autopilot 136, so I can get around that lake really good with that trolling motor.
Yeah.
My first kayak I had was a Jackson Big Rig, and man, that thing was hard to paddle. I
had one of those.
Yeah, it's a great kayak, but then so I want to start kayak fishing, so I bought that, and then just felt like every time I'll spend so much time paddling trying to, you know, keep control of the boat. I get a cast in, about halfway the cast in, the boat is turning, and I said, this is not that fun. So I went by a Hobie Pro Angler 14. And I was able to get around pretty good with the Pro Angler, you know. But then trying to, even the 700-acre lake, which Fellows is, you know, trying to get to the far end. By the time you get there, you know, pedaling, you're worn out.
And those pedal kayaks, they just don't look comfortable with me, having your feet net up like above your hips position. For some reason, I'm thinking all the blood would get pumped out of my legs, and I'd be having
the Hobie's not that bad. They're, you know, some of the ones that have more of the bicycle motion, you know, those look uncomfortable. The Hobie's just got the back and forth. It's lower, and so I think of all those, I like the best. But when Old Town came out with that autopilot, you know, with the motor on it and spot lock, I was like, yeah.
Now you're talking my kind of kayak.
And the first time I launched it, so, you know, I fished part of the Fellows Lake that normally don't go because it's just, you know, far. and you put the heading sensor going towards it, and it just goes. While I drive there, I'm tying rigs and doing this, and it's just, I mean, just a game changer when it, comes to fishing in the kayak. And then, planning also do some trolling because they do got muskie in that lake. It's one of the lake stock and muskie. So, I plan on doing some trolling for muskie there. And there's a chance they say that a state record muskie could come out of that lake.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I would end up doing a heck of a lot of trolling if I had a kayak with a trolling motor. I definitely would. I'd be out on a big lake on the calm days and stuff, trolling for cohos and stuff. I know a lot of guys who do that.
Yeah, it'd be great. But then, I put a Lawrence HDS7 live on the kayak. It's got that active imaging, whatever they call it. And the first time I used that, I just couldn't believe it. I was going through these coves, and all of a sudden it would just light up with those colors. And I just drop a little jig down, and I mean, just so many. Go. It was just crappie after crappie.
I do have to admit, there is definitely something about, being so quiet and out there by yourself and actually getting on the fish. It's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a big fish. Get on like a big blue or something in that kayak. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I've hooked up to a couple of flathead in mine, and it's pretty cool thing it scares you at first, but once it's done and over, you're feeling pretty good, I must say.
Well, I've yet to catch a big fish like that in the kayak. And so I wonder how it's going to be like, pulling it into the kayak from that, but it's something that'd be fun trying.
Fishing with the Michelob says we should plan a trip to Norfolk sometime, one of his favorite all-time places.
Yep.
Best fishing experience of all time was there, and Beaver, actually. Norfolk is a beautiful lake to fish, and it's got everything in it.
Yeah. Yeah, me and him had a good trip a couple years ago on Beaver Lake also. I mean, I think in 3 days we caught 12 different species of fish, including striper. We caught walleye. We caught just the boat dock we were staying at. We caught so many crappie off that. I mean, big crappie too. We just kept throwing. They had empty stalls, and you throw it down there and just bring it in, and bam. And it could be a 11, 12, 13, 14-inch crappie, or next cast could be a walleye. Next cast is a white bass. They were just all stacked up in there.
I used to go down to Mountain Home, Arkansas, and all the little towns around there pretty frequently. And all the convenience stores and tackle shops and gas stations, they all got great big old stripers on the wall where somebody had caught one and had it mounted. And they're giants.
Oh, yeah. I mean, both those two lakes, I mean, any day you go out there, you could end up, 40, 50-pound striper is a possibility.
Yep.
I think, Norfolk's got a little bit better numbers, but, if you really want to catch chance at a upper 40, 50-pound striper, I think Beaver's a better shot for that.
But doesn't Texoma have stripers too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, my first real striper ever caught was in Lake Whitney in Texas.
Okay.
I remember when I was, I don't know, I think maybe in junior high, something, we hired a guy there one day, me and my dad, and caught some stripers there.
Yeah, I've ignored stripers for a long time. I don't know why. I don't know why it interested me. They say they're a hell of a fight.
You were a catfisherman. That's how catfishermen.
I guess if it's got scales, as far as I'm concerned, you can whack it up and make bait out of it.
But they say they're Catfish Nation, right?
That's right.
So you got the big catfish. What's great, it's just like reeling in a freight train. I mean, they're just going to go. It's just a good, steady one. They'll make a few good runs. But them stripers, I mean, they hit, and the runs angry. They make is just fabulous.
Even the little wipers I used to catch, I remember how angry them fish used to be. They would just run and run and run.
Now, Bob, those fish, when they're smaller, of course, as far as I'm concerned, all the smaller ones are better eaten than the bigger ones. But when they're smaller, they fight just as hard, but are they easier to catch? Are there more numbers of them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Lure the Explorer.
The runs they make is just amazing. And I'm sure a lot of people here, have watched Justin Kayak Catfish's videos. And, quite a few of them, he will inadvertently hook a striper. And just by the way that thing runs, right away, takes off, peel and drag, he goes, oh, I got a striper, before he even sees the fish. I mean, there's a difference there, the way they fight. And it's fun. I mean, it's very addicting.
Laura the Explorer has a question. She says, are ocean stripers different than freshwater stripers?
Not really, because all the ones in the freshwater, are basically derived from those ocean ones. They just got landlocked.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, states have, bred them and so forth. But if you look at their heritage, they are the saltwater, things.
Cool.
Same thing with landlocked salmon. They're the same species. They just happen to get locked in or stocked in.
Right.
That's pretty much it. So
yeah.
I find it amazing that a fish can be a saltwater fish or a freshwater fish, because so many of them cannot survive one or the other, and the ones that can seem to be great fish. Eaters or fighters or whatever you want,
because they're all ornery fish, and they're ornery fish are survivors, so they make it happen.
That's right. I told Mark before, and I always wanted a salmon fish, and I never realized that you could go to the Great Lakes to catch them, because I wanted to go to Alaska and fish the Kenai River. But at this point, I'm thinking that it'd be a lot better for me just run up there with Mark, crawl on the boat with him, and I would have to pay all that money to go to Alaska.
There's no boat involved, Lyle. It's all from the bank, buddy.
Well, me and Fish with Mikula, we've talked several times about taking 2 weeks, go up to Alaska, go gold mining, and then when you need a break from gold mining, go hit the rivers and catch some salmon and stuff. That'd be a great trip.
That does sound like a good trip.
Yeah, the same. I would probably be doing the fishing and not so much of the gold mining, but that water looks awful cold.
Yeah.
And once you get a taste of that little bit of that gold, Lyle, you might change your mind.
Now, I do a 50-50 mix, fishing and gold mining. That'd be fun.
I know James Smith used to do a lot of gold detecting. Yeah. He's got a dredge and all kinds of stuff. But Alaska, that's another.
I've done a lot when I was in Georgia. Like my wedding ring here, that's all gold I found in Georgia. Panned out of Yahoo Creek there.
I'll be doing that. Cool.
Georgia, yeah.
Hey, Lyle, we got a couple people that came into the chat a little bit late. Let me say hello to them real quick.
Sure.
I want to make sure I say hello to Want to Be Outdoors. What's going on, Matt? I see Texas Tiger in there. I saw Brian B. Catfishing in here. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss somebody else. People were rolling by here. If I miss anybody else, please forgive me. I'm kind of scrolling through this chat. And I do want to say, and Matt being here kind of reminded me this is Memorial Day weekend. Thank a vet. It's about them this weekend. So
that's right.
Please do that. Joe Buck 66. I think I said hello to you. Brad Caudell. What's going on, Brad? How are you? And Chrissy Brown is in here. What's going on, Chrissy?
Absolutely.
I want to make sure we don't miss.
Some great people in chat. And they're, everybody's, chats and live streams and so forth. Such a great community.
It is. It really is. Even Dockery.
Well, Dockery's got me want to try those Arky lures now.
And Dee's husband,
he does do a lot for them.
And One Over Outdoors. What's going on, John? How are you?
Thanks for the new subscription, Ryan Bortz. We appreciate it. Be sure to like and share this. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that now. That will help us out to get closer to the top of the page on some of these.
That's right.
That people make.
Get the thumbs up going too.
Yep, absolutely.
And hello to Dan's Creations and Adventures. What's going on, Dan?
Hey, Dan. Yeah. Anybody got any questions for me? I'll try to answer some questions.
Yeah, now's a great time. If you guys have any questions for Bob, now is the time, because who knows when you work the schedule he does, when we could get him back. But we got to get out one of these days, Bob, and go fishing. I would love to go with you, or you go with me, and
either way.
Yeah, we'll go out and catch a few and shoot the bull and just have a good time.
Heck yeah! Right now, I'm trying to get my boat on Norfolk. Trying to get a boat slip there. Just that all these lakes here are just so hard to get into right now. All these up, and I'm on waiting lists on Table Rock. I'm waiting lists on Beaver, Norfolk, all these lakes, and
wow.
You know, it's
I
hard.
used to go down to fish some of them lakes, but at the time I was going and fishing Table Rock and stuff, it always seemed it was so busy, and I just thought it was busy. It wasn't near as busy as Lake Ozark.
No.
It's crazy. I just
Yeah.
I like to fish that lake, but the boat traffic in the summertime is pretty rough. And
Yeah,
I like fishing.
it's like Lake Ozarks. You know, if you go certain parts of the lake in the summertime, it's nuts. You just got to go in the right spots.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And the further west you go, I feel the better off you are as far as getting away from some of that. From the Warsaw area up to the 50-mile markers, not too bad.
Ryan Bortz wants to know when you're coming to Kentucky to catch a big blue with him.
Who, me?
Yeah, he's asking. He wants you to come down and catch big blues with him.
I'd love to come do that with him.
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
Something. Every 7 on, 7 off schedule. Every other week, I'm off for a week. I'll definitely come out there.
There you go. and Opinion Nation USA says, Bob, what is your favorite northern state to fish?
Minnesota. I spent a lot of time going up because that's where Opinion Nation, you know, my cousin and Mick, they both live in Minneapolis area. We spent, you know, a lot of trips up there, fishing way up, like Vermilion, you know, muskie fishing up there. We went up to Train Lake right there on the Ontario border into Ontario, fishing up there, which I guess you can't do that now with all these restrictions. But we spent a lot of good time up there, just catching a bunch of perch up there. So last trip up there, we were fishing this cove, catching a bunch of pike, and you know we were chasing those, and we got this little school of those perchy I want to catch.
Yeah, I want to.
You know, I spent an hour just every time I put my jig down there catching a perch.
Wow.
And I remember Mike's like thinking like, hey, let's go over this spot. I'm like, no, this is too much fun. And just was loading them up, perch after perch. And that's what I tell you. I'm a fisherman. I don't care. I mean,
yeah,
put me on a big blue cat or put me on a school little perch. And you know, if you have the right tackle, every fish is fun.
That's exactly right.
If you get, you know, get you a small little 2,000 size spinning reel on an ultralight rod, 4-pound test line, and you know, a crappie will feel like, you know, fight will be like catching a big catfish.
That's exactly.
You got to play them right. Let the reel do its work, but it's just as fun.
Yep, I agree.
And that's why I said, you know, I could just go 20, you know, minutes away from my house, 15 minutes, and go shore fish for bluegill, and I have just as much fun as spending a day on the river chasing catfish.
Love catching them.
Something about a 1,000 series reel and 2-pound test
right.
to kind of get you going, especially the hook into like a 10-ounce or 9-inch reddier. It's a good time. It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Brad, I bought a new spinning reel, and I was using a 4-pound test line fishing that lake by me, trying to catch bluegill and, you know, crappie, and I hooked into something. I don't know what it was. I still don't know what it was. I fought that thing for a long time, and it might have been, there's some big carp in there. I might have snagged carp. Who knows? But I kept getting it up, and it was swirling. The water was too muddy that time. And
did you happen to have a crappie nibble on that jig?
No,
because carp will suck them up. I know that for a fact. I've caught a couple of them on 4-pound.
I was using a crappie magnet on that one, but it was just, you know, with no, you know, nibble on it. But man, that fight was awesome. You know,
you mentioned crappie magnet, and there's a lot of like the banjo minnow and all of them fancy lures, but that crappie magnet, that's legit as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I got a whole 2,600 size Plano box, and all it is, you know, trout magnets and crappie magnets.
Perfect. I use the heck out of both of those. Good stuff. Brian B. Catfishing wants to know what your secret bait is for Saturday. I know you're competing in a competition this weekend, correct?
Yeah. It's Saturday morning, the Glizzy Masters. Yeah, I got a video, you know, showing what my secret formula is, and that'll be released probably on Monday.
On Monday after, that's the way to do it.
and I said, well, if I get skunked, I probably won't release the video, but you know, I'll probably still release it. It'll get views. Maybe somebody will try it and work where they're at.
Mr. Gadget wants to know what your #1 thing for looking for crappie is on a new lake.
It really just depends what time of the year it is. You know, if it's the spawn, you know, they're pretty predictable where they're going to be. usually if I'm going to fish for crappie in the summertime, it's going to be in the summertime because that's when I'm on the lakes more, with my wife. And then it's just finding the right structure and the right depth. Any of those lakes we go is going to have some, deep water coves with trees, and they'll be just, in that area, or any of the big bridge pylons. You just get near there, and they'll be stacked up there. And usually, the summertime, they'll be right above that thermocline there, a little bit deeper water.
Okay, good. Brad, if YouTube unsubscribed you, please subscribe again. I don't know why they do that, but I know that it happens from time to time. So you guys, if for some reason you get unsubscribed from Panfish Nation or any other channel and you notice it, just go ahead and subscribe again, because I think that has to do with something about whether you're active in the chat or whether you're active on the channel or watching videos or something. I'm not sure why they do it, but we need your subscription. So please go ahead, if they unsubscribed you, and sub again.
Yeah, that's the important thing too, because a lot of people's live streams, they put links and stuff, and people will sub them. But if you don't ever go watch one of their videos, if there's no activity on their channel just besides you subbing them, then yeah, YouTube will unsub you after a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
so
you need to watch.
You need to watch some of their content.
You need to watch some of their content, at least initially.
Yeah.
Fish Smack wants to know, Bob, what's the oldest coin you have ever found detecting?
The oldest U.S. coin, I got a video on it on my channel, and it was an 1837 half dime. Found that with my nephew Zach here in Central Missouri. The oldest actual coin was a Spanish real. I think it was 1783. I found that in Nixa, Missouri, not too far from here.
Really?
Yep.
Fell out of somebody's pocket somewhere.
Now,
it was pretty kind of private land where the old tavern used to be, real close to where the soldiers went over the creek to what's that? I can't think of the name right now. The Battle of Springfield, outside of Springfield, down there where that National Park is.
I can't think of the name of it either.
You know what I'm talking about? I can't think of the name.
Big battleground area.
Yeah. But yeah, it was not too far from there.
All I heard was tavern and somebody dropped a coin. That happens all the time when you make those two together.
Yeah. But then that's my oldest coin. That was one of the coolest ones I've found.
Yeah, that's that had to have been lost during Civil War, didn't it?
Probably so. Or before, yeah. I mean, that tavern, I think they said it dated back to, I don't know, 1820 something or so.
How far down was that coin? Just out of curiosity.
That one was maybe only 4 inches down, but it was farmland, so they plow that up.
Okay.
Don't tell how many times have been turned over.
Yeah.
That fishing
piece of property, there have been, I think, 3 reals found out of that piece of property.
Wow.
And one gold coin come out of there also. So
Two Stands Fishing wants to know, what's the basic tools for someone that wants to start metal detecting on a budget?
Don't go too cheap on the detector. That's the most important thing. If you get something, like these Radio Shack ones, or you see like in Walmart or something, they're just more trouble than they're worth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a good, decent detector that's gonna, actually make you feel like you got a shot at finding something, it's gonna probably run you a minimum $400, maybe upper 300s. The one I used was almost $3,000. It just
wow.
So
you ain't messing around, Bob, are you?
But the video where I found that cool button a lot of people have seen recently, that's a detector I use mainly for relics. It's lightweight, and that detector is only $700. That's not a very, as far as good quality ones, it's not that expensive.
It's like any hobby. You can really get into it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Tim Molina wants to say not a
that and a good pair of headphones, that's your biggest expense. The rest of the stuff, good hand shovel and stuff, it's just not much. But then, like that expensive detector, I've been using that same one since 2013. So it's, get a good piece of equipment that's going to last you long. And, I've found enough stuff with that thing to pay it over. So it's,
Now you keep all the stuff that you don't find it to resell, right?
Right. The only stuff I've ever sold is just some gold rings. I spent a lot of time detecting like on Myrtle Beach and stuff, and I found quite a few gold rings, and those I've sold or given away. The last gold ring I found was at old Chautauqua camp up in central Missouri, and showed my mom, and she says it fits me perfect. I'm like, well, it's yours, let her have it, and she loves it.
Yeah, Tim Molina wanted to know what's your go-to metal detector. So I guess he's asking what the brand name is.
The one I use for most of all my coin hunting and most of the stuff is a MindLab CTX 3030. And for relic hunting, I use the MindLab Equinox 600.
So what's the difference in those two?
Just
why would you use one for one and the other for the other?
Well, because the relic hunt where we're at, the stuff wasn't nearly as deep, and you don't have as much trash to really decipher the signals. And so I didn't need something as good. And you're hunting a cornfield with a lot of stalks and stuff, and having a lighter machine, which that Equinox was, I could swing all day. The coin hunt one I use is a lot heavier, but I've been using that series detector. Like the CTX actually derived from a couple other ones that I've been using for so long that I just know what it's telling me. It's a lot more than just a beep. A lot of people think, oh, it's going to beep. No, there's a lot more to it with, different tones and the way things sound. And you learn your machine good, it saves you a lot of trouble digging a lot of trash. Of course, I still dig a lot of trash. You never can get away from that.
It's technically a transducer, right? Is what you're listening to.
Well, it's, it can recognize the different, types of metals, the conductivity of it, and gives you different tones based on that. And then also on how deep or what size the target is, it's louder or softer and so forth. And, you get to putting all that together, and it's almost like hearing what's in the ground. Think of the Matrix movie, you see all those little numbers falling down, but the guy can look at it and see a picture. It's kind of like that, you use the machine good enough and you kind of know what it's telling you. Like if somebody picks up the machine I got and never used it before, they'll be like, oh, what's all these noises? And, it's just.
You figure out after time.
Yeah, you just figure it out, put time in, just like time on the water, figure out the lake. It's time with your machine to figure out what it's telling you.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Brad Codell says, what's the craziest thing you've ever found land fishing?
Oh, gosh, man, that's hard to think. I mean, I did find this one. That's kind of funny. I found this little wooden thing that looked like a matchbox, but had some metal in it. And I thought it was an old lighter. And so I kept it in my car for a couple years. It was just, keep a lot of junk in there, how to find. And then somebody noticed it one day. They're like, why do you have this here? I'm like, I don't know. I just dug it up, metal detected. It's old lighter. He goes, no, it's not. And you open it up and a little tube on there, and turns out this little ceramic little thing, and you push it down in there where the weed is, and you're supposed to smoke it, I guess. And it has stuff in there. I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't get stopped by the police.
Carrying it around
in jail and didn't even know it. And how do you explain that to the police? Oh, I didn't know what it was. And I didn't know what it was, but they're not going to believe you.
They're not going to believe that.
No. They're not going to believe you. So that was, and that sat in my car for at least 2 years, I bet. Wow. But we dug all kinds of, crazy stuff up, and you just never know. There's a lot of stuff that I'd dig up, I'll never know what it is. And I'm sure the stuff I thought was trash that I threw away, and if somebody said, why'd you throw that away? Because, when it comes to Civil War relics, there's all kinds of metal in the ground. We dig a lot of that up, and I found stuff, and I thought it was trash. And a buddy from detecting club that I belonged to be like, oh, I didn't know you found one of these. I'm like, what is it? I don't know. So
he wants to know if a metal detector is easier to read than a fish finder.
Probably not. Those fish finders they're kind of hard. I keep, I know Lyle, Journey Chow, and we keep trying to talk about getting together because he's so good with those hummingbirds. That's what I have on my pontoon boat, and I'm like, why don't you get out on the boat with me and kind of get that thing tuned in? So,
I have found that every body of water that I could put my boat on, you got to start almost over, because every body of water, the depth finders need to be adjusted from the last place you was at.
Right.
It's never the same. And today I can go to Truman and set mine up, and a week go up there again, and it'll either be more muddy or less muddy. So you got to readjust everything again. There's no universal settings for depth finder was done when they come up with these good quality finders. You know,
there's been times I've been in the lake and I'm like, oh man, this thing is working so good, and think I have it dialed in, and go another time I'm like, oh, did my transducer get bumped? And I know it didn't. You know, I know it's where it was, but yeah. But it's hard for me to sit there and try to learn it that good, because once I'm on the water, I just want to fish.
Yeah, that's right. But I like playing with them. We have a new person. I won't say guy, a new person in chat. Opinion on Nation USA. Welcome. Says you got to get an MBA to read those fish finders.
That's right.
That's a cousin of yours, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. We're glad to have him in here.
Yeah, he was him and my cousin Michelob were best friends growing up, lived down the street from each other. And, you know, they were best friends, and I guess we all were since we were in diapers. And then, you know, turns out, you know, his mom actually ended marrying into the family. So he's officially kin now to us and cousin.
There you go. That works out really well.
Yeah. So it was cool. But yeah, he's both great guys, and we're working on a project right now. I wasn't going to talk too much about it yet because I don't know all the details, but we're going to kind of do a charity fishing event, you know, live stream to YouTube. We're looking at sometime in September, and as I get more details on that, we'll be, you know, sharing it out and hopefully getting y'all show and really promote it. But it's going to be pretty cool.
Good deal.
But Penny Nation, Michael D, it was his idea, and he says, "Would something like this work?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, it'll work." So we've been last few days kind of putting stuff to pen and paper and hashing out some ideas and working on stuff. But yeah, it's going to be pretty neat. You know, we'll try to raise money for Make-A-Wish Foundation.
That's a very good cause right there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe some kid wants to go fishing or metal detecting. You can help them that way too. I'm sure there's got to be one that wants to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, you know, great hobbies. But yeah, we're looking forward to, you know, getting all the details and getting that going. I think it's going to be neat.
Here's a pretty good analogy. TX Tiger says, think of a fish finder with different tones added on.
There you go. Yeah.
I know I've listened to you and watched you guys when I was watching those videos, and different tones. I don't know if you was actually holding the speaker or to the microphone or how that worked, but even somebody that's never done it before like I did could tell the difference in the tone. Now, I didn't know what they meant.
Right.
But there's a difference. Using the same piece of equipment to find them, but you would hit one item and it would have a higher pitch tone than another item that you would pitch. And it's easy to detect the difference, but like I say, a guy that knows what the difference is would know what to, and you would say, well, that's not a coin, or that's a coin, or that's
right.
That. It's trash, or, you know, there's a lot of different things that I remember hearing about that, but that takes years of experience to learn that, right?
Yeah, it does. You know, like that last coin hunting video I put out with my nephew, where he found that, you know, real expensive quarter. You know, one of the first coins I found in that video, I called him over. I said, "This sounds like a, you know, deep silver coin." And, you know, if I didn't know that machine good, I never would know what that was.
Right.
Sure enough, it turned out to be, you know, old silver dime from the 1940s.
That's
all. But that's where the experience comes in.
I remember one of my favorite videos that he was in was a courthouse yard way down south someplace.
No, that was actually up north. That was in Nebraska.
Oh, was it?
No.
Okay.
My stuff he's done the past years.
Yeah,
he's been in college. He just graduated, you know, a couple weeks ago, but he spent the last 4 years in Nebraska at college and made a lot of videos up there.
Well, that was a very good one.
But that courthouse there was actually official Michelob. Michelob found that courthouse, and he kept saying we need to go there. And Zach really didn't want to go there. You know, he's like, I don't really like that town. I'm like, let's just try it. So we tried it. So there was a group of us there, and I mean, it was just amazing. I don't know how many silver coins we pulled out of that thing.
There's a lot.
Yeah. We calculated just, from that first couple of days we were there, and it was like 40 something. And then I know Zach, after we left, been back a number of times. And I mean, it's not that huge of a yard, but I mean, it has to be at least 120, 140 silver coins pulled out of there.
That's crazy.
One of the most, epic spots that I've ever seen, for numbers of coins. Because so many places are just, been hunted over and over again. It's hard to find a spot that's, what they call virgin ground. And
yeah,
that one's just been amazing.
Yeah, how hard is it to get permission to go on some of the places?
Most of the places I hunt are public, and I don't have to get permission. I mean, I mainly hunt parks and stuff. Now, if you see me hunt private property, usually I'm with somebody that got permission. I like the challenge of going to spots that have been hunted before, and I don't really care to seek out permission.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of courthouses, they got like lawns around them. They got little gazebos and stuff. And to me, that's public property. Now, there has been quite a few I've been in that, tell you can't be hunting there, and, you just leave.
Yeah.
But 95% of my hunting, is on public ground.
Cool.
How do you pick your spots that you go?
Just find the oldest park in the town.
Is that what you do? Just look at like oldest structures and stuff. Try to look back.
Okay. Yeah. And then but pretty much that. Sometimes we'll go 4 or 5 day road tripping. Like we'll pick a state, and let's go road trip, and you go through the smaller, highways, town to town, and you hit that town, and like, okay, usually the older park is closer towards the center of town, unless it's on a river or something like that. And sometimes the older park is along the river. And, of course, with internet now, it's easy to look up, dates and ages of stuff. And
what about like more popular sites like battlefields and stuff like that? Are they pretty much picked over, or can you still find things?
Almost all battlefield sites are all off limits. They're all national parks now and stuff. And if you get even caught with a detector in your car, it can get confiscated, even if you're not using it. So yeah, just stay away from those. But Wilson's Creek Battlefield, that's the one here.
That's
the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. But yeah, kind of where Wilson's Creek was is where I was hunting for those. Where I found that old real coin. But yeah, you can't do the battlefields unless you're lucky enough to know a property owner that borders it. Then yeah, then of course you find out the owner. Ask permission. And that's one thing my nephew Zach is great at, is finding property owners and asking permission. And I mean, he's been on some great stuff, and that's why he's got such great videos. I mean, he's got a great detecting channel, one of the bigger ones, and but he's put the work to get the permission to find the properties to do so.
There you go.
Tim Molina wants to know if you ever hunt creeks and streams.
I don't, and I'd like to, because I've got a friend who does that, and he's found all kinds of old coins. Finds a bunch of Civil War bullets in some of the creeks if it's a Civil War area, and then I mean, even got a cannonball out of the creek. So it's definitely just how gold will kind of concentrate in certain parts of the river based on how the water's moving. A lot of that old bullets and stuff from the Civil War, the lead and stuff, will concentrate in the same areas. So it's kind of neat. So if you know how to gold mine, you can actually find some good spots for Civil War relics in the creeks. And then, of course, if you're looking good, you could be finding arrowheads and all that kind of stuff like that.
Mr. Gage,
I've always done a fishing pole then. So it's like, how do I hold a detector in one hand and a fishing pole in the other? It doesn't work too well.
Maybe if you put some eyes on the shaft of your
pool
and
drag a jig back. Because I want to do two things at once, and you can't.
Mr. Gadget says, new show on the way, Detector Nation.
Yep. Well, just go to Fins and Finds. You get it both there.
That's exactly right. And there's a lot of metal detecting stuff online. I don't know how we got so far off track, but it's a huge fun bunch of videos to watch. Yeah. If you guys ever get started, you'll get hooked on it. I promise. It is. It's as addictive as fishing.
It is, and very few people you talk to, will just scoff at it. I mean, everybody seems to be interested. They may never pick up Detector or go, but if they see something or see somebody doing it, they're going to wonder what that person's finding.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
There's also that thrill of, or the thought of finding treasure somewhere too, that really gets people going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking treasure is enough money for me to go try a chocolate shake at the DQ.
But it's just to me it's just like the thrill of the hunt, and then it's same way with fishing. You get in the water, you're hunting the fish. It's the thrill of the hunt.
That's a great analogy, because you are hunting fish.
Right.
You really are.
You got to put you got to use your brain. You got to put yourself where you think the fish is going to be, and but at least the hard part with fish is they could be there, but they may not want to bite. You can't control that.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot.
But then, that I keep telling, like Mike and stuff on the detecting side, I'm like, it gets harder and harder because people are, especially the public spots, that stuff doesn't replenish itself. At least the fish reproduce, so I could go fish the same lake, the same spot, day after day, year after year, and there's still gonna be fish there.
It's also a window back into history of some sorts too. I mean, when you're getting those Spanish coins or the oldest American coins and stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Or I think it is.
It's neat, and I love, I mainly, coin hunt stuff, but find the Civil War relics and stuff, especially where we're at in Missouri, that, got plenty of stuff here. I mean, not like a lot. Have you ever been to like Phelps Grove Park in Springfield?
No.
Okay. I mean, I've dug, I don't know, at least 30, 40 bullets from the Civil War out of that park alone.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I know back in the early 1990s, we built a house just south of Footentown there, up on the hill.
Yeah.
And one day, for some reason, the kids was out playing in the road, and I walked across, and in the ditch, I found a cannonball. Just across. It was on a gravel road at the time, and I was blown away with that.
Yeah.
And just laying there. And how long it'd been there, who knows?
Right.
Whether it was left from the Civil War or somebody tossed it out of their car going down the road, I have no idea. But
that area there, it probably, Civil War.
Yeah, that's what I
think, the old wire road kind of goes down that way, and they travel that from, Pea Ridge, Arkansas, where that big battle, all the way up to Battle of Springfield, and follow that all the way up into St. Louis.
Yeah.
And just you go anywhere along there, you've got a chance of finding stuff.
Yeah, it's just wild, but I find it interesting. I really do, and like I say, I've watched a lot of videos, a lot of your videos, and some of the other guys. There's some other people around our area that has pretty good ones, and some of the people that are on the channels that you frequent are not from around here, but they still are in contact and have great videos too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of those guys, I know there's a group of guys I watched called the Hoover Boys. They got awesome videos. They're up, in the Northeast, and they got fishing videos too. They like to fish up there, and so I'm watching their detective videos and I'm watching their fishing videos.
Kind of works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I fish with a guy who, I think his channel's like Detecting Chicago or something. He got started and he got a lot of followers using detecting, and he kind of branched out into fishing. So he's doing the same thing. It is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
The same kind of idea. Opinion Nation USA says, Bob, with all of your hobbies, how do you find time for your family?
I always make time for the family, and he knows that too. Yeah. Because it's, just like, talking about, this week in the Glizzy Masters, signed up to that with, Has Life's show coming up. And I thought I'd be fishing probably Lake of the Ozarks or doing some river fishing, where I'm familiar with the catfish. But my wife has a soccer tournament in St. Louis that weekend. And it's just kind of a deal. It's like, if I'm off and she's out of town, I'm her chauffeur. I'm going no matter what. So, I won't have access to a boat or a kayak, but I'm going to find a place to shore fish somewhere in the St. Louis area for that tournament. It'd be a spot I'm not familiar with. I'm at a disadvantage, but I don't care. It's just, I'm not going to give up what I feel is my duty to take care of my wife.
There you go.
And she's told me, she says, I'll go alone. You can stay here and, fish your tournament. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I've made a commitment to her to be your chauffeur on those, out of town trips, and I'm not going to give that up.
Trust me, I know the chauffeur dirty. I do it well.
Yeah, especially, that tournament's going to be 5 hours. She's going to be in St. Louis for 3 days, and I'm not going to give up that whole weekend with her for 5 hours of fishing. I could find a place to fish in St. Louis. There's places everywhere.
There is.
And that's going to be fun. Hope everybody, on here could tune into that. That's going to be
Tell us about your Glizzy Masters, how that's going to play out. How many of you is going to be in that? And can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, it's basically going to be 8 of us fishing against each other, and we're just going to stream it through Has Life's channel. So you kind of fish where you're at. I know we got a few people like in Washington, D.C. area. I'll be in Missouri. I think we got a couple people in New Mexico. One of those New Mexico anglers is going to be there. And, the whole premise of it is to use glizzies or hot dogs, sausage type thing. But we can't use other bait. But if you do catch it on a sausage, hot dog type deal, your fish catch counts as 2 fish and double the weight.
Oh.
If you use non-glizzy and non-fish bait, your fish counts as 1 fish and whatever the weight of the fish is. But if you decide to use fish bait, shad, bluegill, that kind of so forth, then every fish is basically half.
Is it just catfish or is it any?
No, we're catfish. We're just catfish.
Okay. That's where I was at too.
Yeah. It's just for catfish, and we'll be fishing. I guess it's 5 hours, 9 to 2 Eastern time, and then afterwards, the ones who want to participate, including me, will be doing a hot dog eating contest also.
Oh, really?
So it's going to be whoever can eat 8 hot dogs the fastest.
I don't eat them very fast, but I can eat a lot of them.
Yeah.
Stan says, he says you all are talking to the Glizzy Master right here from the James River.
Right.
So I'm thinking the trash talking.
We got our own face group message board going on, and it's for the last 2 weeks. There's been, a lot of fun trash talking going. I don't want to get skunked, but I don't care if I win or not. But I can tell you what, this whole experience so far has been a blast.
There you go. That's what you do it for.
Yeah, and and we haven't even got started yet. I mean, I know Saturday's going to be super fun.
Welcome, we used to use hot dogs all the time when we were kids, man. Like you would know, that was a go-to bait. I remember Mom yelling at me because she's trying to have a barbecue and we're stealing all the hot dogs from her before she gets up in the morning. So, Frankfurt Twisted Fishing TV, a glizzy is a hot dog. That's a DC term, I believe, right?
When I was a kid, I used hot dogs some, and we'd use bacon as bait too a lot.
Oh yeah.
But ever since then, I haven't even touched a hot dog for bait. So. I did my first live stream yesterday. I fished a couple hours there at a local lake, and I didn't catch a thing on it.
No.
Got a couple
Dan's Creation and Adventure says I already made the hot dog for the Golden Wiener Trophy for the hot dog tournament.
Awesome, Dan. Yeah, Dan's making a trophy. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen Dan's work, I mean, you need to check it out. Check out his channel. He does some amazing work.
He does. I've seen some of it.
Hopefully somebody posted his link in chat and go see what he does. And
yeah, it's really, really cool. Yeah, if somebody would post up Dan's link, he really does some amazing stuff. I've seen some stuff that he done for streamers and live shows and YouTube guys, and it really is amazing.
He did a nice one for hooks and hammocks.
Yes, he did.
He's a true artist. And then he had a little giveaway doing the live show, him making a big giant hook also, and I think Sharina won that one, if I remember right.
Here's an invite for you, Bob. Anytime you can get out here, Stan 3 and I will get you on some blues. That's from Stan 2. That'd be a good trip.
I need to get out. I'll go fish blues out that way. Go hit with Ryan and hit Stan. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, there's so many great people I've met, online in these chats and so forth. And I'm friends with them on Facebook and watch all their pictures and see them all. And yeah, I need to get out there. And I'm hoping a lot of y'all are going to be at Catfish Conference too, because I'm planning to go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going to try.
Yeah, so get to meet a lot of y'all in person there.
Stephen Corley, welcome.
Hey, Stephen. But yeah, any more Panfish questions? I know this is Panfish Nation, but
yeah, we kind of got off on a different line tonight, but that's okay. It happens from time to time.
And that's what it is. I mean, there's so much crossover in fishing, you know, so it doesn't matter what we talk about. I just don't want to get too far off topic, but I'll talk about anything, you know. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Just don't talk about farms and stuff. I get enough of that. I don't need that.
You know, I got this pain in my back, Bob. What can you recommend?
I recommend you talk to your local pharmacist.
Bob brings all the fun topics. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
and that's what it is. It's just like no difference than if you're sitting around a group of people, you know, on a fishing trip at a campfire. How many different topics are going to come up, you know? You're going to talk about fishing and talk about this and that, and that's the way that some of these conversations go, and that's what's cool about it.
I'll tell you what, we sat around a couple of tables up at that motel and out in the parking lot if it wasn't raining.
Yeah.
When we was in Wisconsin, and we had a common goal topic.
Mm-hmm.
James Dockery. he was the common topic. He deserved it all, too.
I'm not going to say much about Dockery. He might get on me.
He'll be on you like he is me.
On your ankle.
I've gotten the emojis, you know, in Facebook Messenger from him. So, well, it includes those, but it includes some other ones I can't, you know.
That's not the one that I send him all the time.
No,
I promise you, it's not.
I sent him that right before we got in here. Apparently,
yeah, I did something on Facebook, and also I see a message from Doctor opening up. I'm like, okay.
He's still in chat, believe it or not.
Oh,
I'm surprised he's not in bed. We love old James, man.
I know we do. As much as you know,
speak for yourself.
He's a good guy.
That's what makes it fun, you know. You can be everybody. If you can't do that, then
I got to tell you, I can say whatever I want about him, and so can everybody else. The man puts fish on the board. I mean,
well,
50, 60 a day sometimes.
Yeah, he does. He does numbers, and maybe not the size, but he definitely does the numbers.
Definitely does. He's been catching some pretty good ones that people don't know about here recently.
Oh, I can imagine.
But yeah, I get a picture every once in a while of a 15-inch crappie that he don't tell anybody about, and that's okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, we like to give him, you know, crap, but the guy knows what he's doing.
That's right. He
definitely knows what he's doing, especially when it comes to panfish. I mean,
and here's the other thing. And I know this is supposed to be a show with you, but James Dockery has been teaching classes this week again.
Right. Yeah, I've seen his pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, he teaches a lot of classes, and he does a lot of things him and Katie do for kids.
Right.
And, that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. You know, I love seeing pictures he posts, his fish pictures. I know he's doing a lot of great service up, you know, where he's at. And, you know, the state of Missouri needs people like that, and every state needs people like that.
Yeah, you're right. They do.
And yeah. So
anybody else got any questions for Bob while we have him on here? Chad says, "Don't judge Dockery because he catches fish relevant to his size." Dockery is pretty.
Well, that must be the Chad, not the Chad.
Yeah, the Chad. Yeah.
Okay, because polar bear is the Chad.
That's Mr. D.
Mr. D.
Mr. D.
Oh, Bob, it's been a blast having you on here tonight.
Thanks for coming out here. This has been fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
We do need to go fishing together sometime.
We do. We need to make that happen this summer sometime. And I
know Mark wants to check out Missouri, you know, sometime. So
when
he comes down, we'll get him on the lake too.
Absolutely. We get him.
There's a lot of great other people in Missouri that around here that I like to fish with. And like I said, just getting the schedule together. We'll do it because I do have a lot of time off. And
Tim, we posted a bunch of those pictures. Has been posted up. I'll see if I got any more and post some more. Dockery and I actually sat on the front of the boat and put Katie and Cindy in the back of the boat where we fishing off of the rod rack. That's where they was at. and him and I just sat up front, and I never shoved him in the water one time. I never, we had a really fun time on the front of that boat while the girls, the object was to let the girls catch the fish. And Katie kind of dominated that. They was all on her side of the boat. And there's days that it doesn't matter who you are or what side of the boat you are. One side of the boat catches more fish. And if you've ever been fishing with another person, you know how that works. And the trip was Katie's. I mean, didn't matter where she was at. She was the one catching the majority of the fish, and she had a blast doing it. And we're glad that she did.
Right.
But we got to give the big fish to James, man. It's 27-pound channel cat.
And yeah, I mean, that is a big channel cat.
It is.
We see so many people talking about these big, blues and flatheads and stuff because that's what people target more. But when you talk about channel catfish, 27 pounds. That is a monster.
Well, it's almost a thing of the past in our area, Bob.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They just about is. But
right. But
that's a giant fish, and we had a wonderful time. But I think most of the pictures and stuff have been. I know I've got a couple things here that I'm kind of saving back, but yeah, we had a ball sitting on the front of the boat, and I'm sure if it had been Bob or Mark or Chad or anybody else on the front of the boat, but it was James and him and I'd kind of been planning this and let the girls catch as many fish as they wanted to, and we didn't have as much room, so I could have easily knocked him off if I'd wanted to. I might even just picked him up by his heels and held him by his ankles and dunked him in the water a couple times, but I was afraid I'd hurt my shoulder than I just getting it healed up, so I didn't want to.
You should have called me. I'd have come and done it for you.
I never thought of that. That makes for fun.
Yeah, I wish I'd made that trip. I mean, y'all had a blast.
We did, and we'll be doing it next year, so everybody pay attention. We'll be posting it up on here, and we're probably going to keep the Mendota trip Facebook page going, and all the upgrades and updates and all the stuff will be here and there. So we'll get ready to go, and maybe Bob, we can get you up there for the next one.
I'm glad Mark went live as much as he did because I spent a lot of time watching his live stream and kind of made me feel like I was home there for a little bit. So that was awesome.
Yeah. There wasn't much going live with us. There's too much.
Not safe for live streaming.
We never shut up on that boat. If it wasn't James and I, it was Cindy and Katie, but mostly James and I. I gotta say, they can say what they want about women talking. There was nobody that talked any more than James Dockery and me.
They were talking about Chad, and they didn't want to hurt his feelings, so they didn't go live. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's the video archive that never goes away. Then.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, listen, Bob, thanks again for being on the show.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the invite. I had a great time. And,
I'm glad you did. And
keep an eye out for more lives coming from me soon, hopefully, and more videos. And
I hope so.
I got that bell rung.
Awesome.
If somebody hasn't already, please put Bob's link up to the.
He's been posted in. Please put Bob's link in there.
Thank you, D. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
But and watch for his metal detecting shows. I promise you.
And his fishing videos.
They are outstanding, and the fishing videos are good. But the metal detecting is something just off the beat path. Most people that fish might think, "Well, I'm not interested in that." But if you ever watch Bob do it, you'll understand what I'm saying because he does a really good job with them.
I appreciate that,
Mark.
Okay, real quick, let me say a couple of things. This Monday, we have Catfish Weekly with Hooks and Hammocks. Correct?
That's correct.
Chris and Tally. I'm going to have Josh from the Weekend Angler on the Catfish and Crappie Show directly after that.
Awesome. Ditch Pickler.
The Ditch Pickler. He's going to be on my show. Has a great channel. Next week on the bait shop, I don't know what's going on, but we know it's going to be the bait shop. I imagine we're going to answer for some of what happened tonight next Thursday. And we have Fish Smack on next Thursday night, and the regular suspects. We got Stan on Friday night, I believe. We got Mr. Greenwell on Saturday. Sunday, we got Palmetto and Avid. Tuesday, we got Roger, Patriot James on Thursday.
Wednesday,
I'm sorry. And Friday, back to Stan. So it's the same thing.
Yep.
Also, guys, it is
Kelly Bullock shows on Tuesdays now at 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
That's
early.
true.
Yeah,
Kelly Bullock's. Yep, early. He's what's in your tackle box.
doing good.
And remember, folks, and if you're out there and you're a veteran, thank you for your service. If you know anybody who's lost their lives in the line of duty, this is the weekend to be grateful and think about them, and maybe even have a moment of silence. So
don't forget the reason we have this holiday.
Be safe on the water, people. It's a crazy weekend to be out.
It is. And by the way, I'll be in Kansas City, provided the doctor doesn't shut me down tomorrow when I go have my leg checked. Be helping the All-American Catfish up there this weekend. They're having a tournament. We're not going to fish it, but we are going to go up there and support them. Should be a great tournament on the Kaw River and Missouri River. So he done a live feed tonight, this afternoon, and the water's coming up, but it's still safe to go. So it's good to go for Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning. So hope to see some people there then. Until then, we'll see you next week. Catfish Nation.
Sounds good. Bye, y'all.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye-bye.